Hello there, and today we are taking a look at the accessibility in the brand new Atomfall, a game from the amazing team at Rebellion, who I want to thank for sending me over this code so I could check it out ahead of release. If you're new, I am Molly and I do analysis of the games industry and also reviews of accessibility in video games. Before we head on to this video, I want to let you know that for this game there is an accessibility page from Rebellion themselves. They have a whole page on their website dedicated to the accessibility of this game, so if you would rather read about the accessibility of the game or hear about it from the devs and the accessibility team themselves, you can go there. However, if you want to watch it in video form and hear my opinions, this is the place to be. When you first start up Atomfall, you are met with several menu screens, which we all love. There is no point having a game with accessibility in it if you don't make it accessible from the startup, because then some people can't even access your game from the beginning. So yay for Atomfall, yay for Rebellion. However, one critique I had was that there seems to be no menu narration on any of these menus. So if you were someone with very low vision or no vision at all, you would need someone to help you with the setup of the game. On the plus side, the first option you come to is about scaling up the UI, which is amazing for when you're heading into the game, and there's the possibility that there will be captions and menus and all kind of things like that. Once you click through that, there's a second menu all to do with the UI, where you can change text size, you can also change opacity for all elements of the UI, so you can get that little bit of contrast if needed between the text and icons of the UI and the actual gameplay. You can also customize the colors you want to designate to icons within the game map. And the color selections are incredible. It is not just 3 to 5 colors to choose from, it is a whole color palette, which is a huge plus for anybody with color blindness, but also for cognitive accessibility to help with association. The amount you can scale the text size is incredible. The default is set to 85, but you can scale the UI and text all the way up to 200%. So like a really hefty slidable scale, and I also love that it is a slidable scale. It is not simply like small, medium, large. It is a whole range that you can customize yourself. The third menu is to set the brightness for the game, and the fourth menu is a basic controls menu. So it doesn't have all the control options within the game, but it is a great way to start. It includes having options to invert the X and Y axes, and turning controller vibration on and off. Then there's also an option to turn on toggles for aim and sprint rather than holds. This means you can sprint with the click of a button rather than holding it the entire time you want to sprint. The fifth and final menu is a small accessibility menu. Within this, there are options for turning subtitles on and off. You can also add a background box to the subtitles. Also again, a sliding scale to adjust the text size of the subtitles up to 200%. You can also change the color of the subtitles and also the color of the speaker. And once again, it is a color palette selection, not just a choice of like 5 colors. After this, you're brought to the main menu of the game, and you can either dive right into the game, or you can access both the options menu and the accessibility menu straight from this screen, which is incredible. I know it's pretty easy to go to the accessibility options within the options menu, but having that highlight for accessibility so you know there are options for it is an amazing addition, and also just changes the culture around accessibility. It's not something to be hidden, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's there as a menu just like any other. In this dedicated accessibility menu, you have even broader range of options than you did in the startup menu. These options fall under the headers of visuals, the HUD, camera, controls assistance, and audio assistance. Under visuals, you once again have access to the text scale slider, and you can change the colors for map icons again. You can also edit your crosshair color. However, that seems to be the only way you can edit your crosshair in terms of shape and everything. You can scale it up and down under the heads up display options, but it's included in scaling up the heads up display. You cannot change the size of your crosshair independently. You can change the size of your crosshair, but it has to be combined with scaling the HUD. You cannot just edit your crosshair on its own. There's an amazing slider to add a background to any UI elements, which is really great in terms of just processing or being able to see it. You can toggle on and off NPC highlights, which I love in games, to be able to process and judge the situation I'm in a lot easier. You can also edit the colors of these highlights depending on whether the NPC is hostile or not. And once again, you have the amazing color palette to pick from. You can also customize the highlight color for objects you're able to interact with within the game. Under the heads up display header, there is an incredible option that I'm really happy to see, which is traversal indicators. These will basically pop up in game to indicate things you can climb on or vault over, which can help both with navigation and also saving time on running at walls and objects, hoping they're interactable when they're not. Don't let the yellow paint haters see this. There is also an option to toggle on icons that appear above enemies' heads in games to tell you whether they are currently hostile towards you, or even in the process of becoming hostile, or if they are just chill with you, which takes so much emphasis off of context clues as to whether you have been spotted by an NPC or not. You can also toggle on your health bar permanently, and you can also adjust the size of it. And as mentioned earlier, you can adjust your heads up display on a sliding scale also, which will change the size of the info you see in your game along with your crosshair. The next header of options is camera, which has an incredible range of options if you get motion sickness or migraines. You can change the camera bob and sway on a sliding scale. It's not just all or nothing. You can change the amount you want in the game. You can also edit the field of view, with 60 being the default. You can toggle motion blur on and off. You can turn off full screen effects, which for full screen effects, from what I understand, refers to when your health is becoming low, you get sort of like darkness and spots around the edge of your screen when you are low health to indicate that, and you can turn that on and off as you wish. The next header is controls assistance, which has some super helpful options for those who need mobility accessibility. There's an option to turn on auto centering for your camera, which will automatically after a certain period of time center your camera in the direction you're heading. Also an option to turn on automatic forward movement, which means with the click of a button you'll start walking, and with the same click of a button you will stop, which is incredible. It means you don't have to hold down W or forward on your joystick. And they have the same option for turning on automatic firing. When this is turned on, if you press, for instance, left mouse click to fire, it will continuously fire until you press left mouse click again, avoiding having to hold any key down, which are really great for reducing fatigue and also removing the need for any fast reactions. The final header in the accessibility menu is audio assistance. One incredible option that I would love to see in more games from now on that is included is audio aiming cues. The purpose of these cues is to allow players to be able to aim through audio rather than through visuals. The way it works is by changing the pitch and speed of the sound. The sound will slow down if you are horizontally further away from your target and speed up the closer you get, and the pitch will play lower the lower you are from your target.
Keep it tight, squad. I'll have your head. Let's have a look there. Firing! This ain't over till one of us is dead. I'm firing!
This is great, and again, I really want to see this in more games in the future. However, I do feel like this feature is not taken advantage of enough in the game. I feel like it could be used for navigation, knowing your way towards waypoints and things like that, and it isn't really taken advantage of in that way. There is an option to turn on audio interaction cues, which will play one sound for objects you can interact with, such as like notes and things you can add to your inventory, and then a second sound will also play for if there's a door you can interact with. There's also a toggle for turning on NPC sounds, which will play another unique audio whenever you are near an NPC.
I'm taking a shot.
Allowing you to navigate by sneaking and also through some populated areas with the help of this audio. And again, although these options are great, I do not think they would be enough to play the game with sound alone. Again, it would be great if they were used to, say, get to waypoints or to travel around the map, but they're sort of more useful when you're actually already in a situation that have already made it to your waypoint. There are also options that I would consider accessibility options that are not necessarily under the accessibility menu. For example, under the game menu, you can change how often you want to display tutorials in your game, which is great for prompts for cognitive accessibility. The options for turning on toggle for sprint and aiming are also here. Also some really great options for how you want pause menus to work, which I think is the first time I've seen this in a game. Usually the game kind of sets the rules on how the game works once you've opened a menu, but this sort of allows you to set the stipulations. You can choose whether the game pauses during tutorials, and if that is the case and you do want the world to carry on, you can choose whether the menu automatically closes when you take damage, which is great. It's giving players more power to play how they want to play. For instance, pausing during tutorials and in the menus gives you more time to read and process the information you're being given. Under the control menu, there are also some accessibility options, including the walk, jog, threshold slider, which although only comes into play if you're using a controller, is incredible. And again, I would love to see this in games going forward. I cannot emphasize enough how much I love this as an option. You basically set how far forward you want to push your analog stick before your character starts walking. This enables players who have disabilities that affect fine motor skills. This enables players that have disabilities that affect fine motor skills to be specific in how much they want to move their joystick. It also allows for more precise movements, and even can reduce fatigue for those that need it by requiring less effort to move your character. There are also aim assist options, which include 3 different levels of aim assist, both for aiming down sights and also auto aiming on hipfire. Additionally, you can also turn on melee assist, which will enable better aiming for your melee attacks, which is really freaking cool. Finally, for audio, there are 6 different volume sliders, including a high priority sound effects volume slider, which includes any sounds that alert you to something extremely important, drawing your attention to it so you don't miss it. Overall, Atomfall has made some incredible moves for accessibility. You can tell how much thought and love has been poured into it from the accessibility team and the game devs. I think there are things that could have been taken advantage of to help out low vision and blind players, but in terms of like mobility accessibility, it is incredible. The auto walk, being able to turn off hold buttons, being able to play around with like pause menus and how they work is just incredible. Like, regardless of whether it is perfect accessibility, it's incredible accessibility. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how much some of these options blew my mind that they are in this game and I get to witness them existing. So I just want to say a really big congratulations to the entire Rebellion team, the accessibility team. You guys did incredible, and I was so honored that I got to check out this game ahead of release. It's just made me so happy to check it out. So thank you again, Rebellion, for the code. I really appreciate it, and thank you for watching, and hopefully I see you again soon. Subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff that you meant to say at the end of a YouTube video, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.